Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to start off today's video by asking you a simple question. What do you think is the best-selling Mercedes-Benz model here in America? Is it the C-Class? The E-Class? Well, if you answered any of those, you're actually wrong. The best-selling model here in America is the vehicle that's right behind me. This is the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC class, more specifically the GLC300. And last year, Mercedes managed to sell around 73,000 units, which makes it the third best-selling luxury vehicle here in the States. So in today's video, I've got the latest version. Let's take a look and see what makes this model so popular with Americans. Now, as most of you guys probably know, the GLC class replaced the GLK class back in 2015 as the compact SUV in the Mercedes-Benz lineup. Since then, there's two new models that slot below the GLC. Of course, there's the GLA and the GLB, which the GLB may eventually overtake this model to be the best-selling Mercedes-Benz model once that car continues to pick up steam. It just went on sale. Now, of course, with over 73,000 units sold in 2019, this makes it the best-selling Mercedes-Benz model by about 23,000 units. It outsold the C-Class by that many units, and the C-Class used to sell like nearly 100,000 every year. So it kind of shows you how sales for the C-Class has been cut in half, and it reminds everybody that everyone here in America prefers to buy an SUV over a car. Now, here in the DC area, I see a lot of Mercedes-Benz models, and the GLC is probably the one that I see the most of. Now, because it's such a popular vehicle, Mercedes was very conservative with the overall design of this thing when it came out. It got an extensive overhaul this year for 2020 with the introduction, of course, of the coupe model a couple years ago, but this is the actual regular GLC. So this one here with the AMG Sport package, I think actually looks fairly nice. Now, I probably wouldn't have spec'd out a silver with the red interior. I would have preferred a white with this red interior, but regardless of the color choice, which is going to come down to your personal taste, this is still a very attractive and modern looking SUV. Now, the interior of most Mercedes-Benz models is where you're going to be spending a lot of your time, of course, and the GLC, even though has been out for a few years, Mercedes has managed to keep the interior pretty fresh. On the inside of the latest Mercedes-Benz GLC, you can see, if you guys are familiar with the Mercedes-Benz interior, this is still going to be quite a nice place to spend time. Mercedes did make some updates to it for 2020, so let's go over all of those. Now, as you can see, the steering wheel, the overall dash layout hasn't really changed, although they did make the screen larger for the 2020 model year. When you come over here and shut the door, it still has a very solid thunk. My Tester also has a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel, which is a nice option. Some of the competitors in this segment don't even offer that. Now, of course, as you can see here, My Tester has a $1,500 upgrade for the interior that includes this two-tone cranberry red on black leather seats. It includes heated seats, but ventilated seats. As you can see, there's an empty button here on the door panel, is an extra like $500 that My Tester is frustratingly missing. The seats themselves adjust in like 16 ways on the driver's side, 14 ways on the passenger side, so there's a lot of adjustability in here, so you can pretty much get in this car and get comfortable. Now, in terms of the materials, if you guys pay an extra like $500, you can get the MB-Tex stitching on the dash, where this is genuine stitching. It's a soft touch injection molded plastic over there, and then it also extends over onto the door panels here. You've got genuine aluminum trim, which is very nice. Even the window switches are trimmed in metal, so again, this adds to that feeling of luxury and quality. More of that stitching on this part of the door handle, and then it's soft touch padded right down here on this lower portion with lots of additional storage. My Tester also has an optional heads-up display for $1,000, and for another $700 you can spec in this full 12.3-inch digital display, which is customizable. You can change the way those gauges looks by going into the settings in the menu system. This is the latest MBUX infotainment system, so you can say things like ask Mercedes to find you, your nearest Starbucks. You can also turn that off, because these things, as you guys know, will constantly interrupt me when I'm trying to do a review. You can see the steering wheel on this model looks fairly nice. It's not the full AMG wheel with a flat bottom, but you do have these touch sensitive pads here, which allows you to control that part of the info cluster, the instrument cluster, or use this one and it controls the actual 10.25-inch display. Paddle shifters are included. Your adaptive cruise control switches are also all over the steering wheel. This one here has the driver assistance package for like another $1,800. Your gear selector is over here. here. Mercedes puts it as a stock on the right side of the wheel. Put it into reverse. You can see my Tester has the parking assistance package for like another $1,200, which gives you the full 360 camera, which is definitely nice. One of the best resolution cameras in the industry. So I like to see that Mercedes has really kept this interior fresh, even though this has been out for almost 5 years now. The beauty about MBUX is this is also a touchscreen, which is very nice. You can kind of go into and change all of your settings. You can look at your comfort. You can also adjust the ambient lighting. It also includes things like Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, although with this smaller 10.25-inch display, it doesn't take up the entire real estate here of the display, which I wish it did. On the 12-inch displays, it does. So I kind of wish that Mercedes would just kind of implement that throughout, but it does look fairly nice. It's intuitive. This has a somewhat of a learning curve, but I've been in enough Mercedes-Benz products to realize that most of the times I just use this as a touchscreen, or you can also use this little command pad down here, which does the same thing. So the screen is within a good, easy reach, so most of you, I imagine, will just go and touch the screen, which really makes it a lot more simple. These vents you can see here are also very high quality feeling. They're made of real metal trim. Nice toggles over here with a lot of shortcut buttons over here. I love this wood trim. It actually feels like wood. It actually feels like it'll give me splinters if I keep doing this, but it's a very high quality look. This still looks very fancy even after 5 years on the market. Open up this and you get 2 cup holders, a wireless phone charger, a USB cable jack there for the Apple CarPlay. Your dynamic mode selector is over here. If you play with this, you can see there's an Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and an individual setting. The graphics all look very good. It's very crystal clear. You can also access your parking camera there. You can turn off the system. Your volume is a little wheel over there, and you've got your stability control off switch. This is a nice padded area over here, and if you open this up, you can see 2 more USB-C ports, a good amount of storage over there, and then over here you can see the glove box, pretty good size. It's damped and lined with felt, and then above me for $1,500 extra, you can also spec in the panoramic sunroof, which some of the competitors for this vehicle come with that as standard equipment, so kind of keep that in mind. So overall, I think Mercedes has done a really good job with keeping this interior fresh, full of the latest tech. It feels relatively roomy in here. I would also option in the Burmester sound system for $850. Really great sounding audio system, some of the best sounding speakers that I've heard in the industry, tops with the rest of the other European offerings in the segment. Now back here you get 37 inches of legroom, which does make the GLC on the average side for the segment in terms of actual space. I'm 5'7", and as you can see, I get pretty good amount of foot space underneath the front seats. This is where I have the seat to drive. There is not a flat floor here, because remember, this is a rear drive based car. The tri-zone climate control that you see here is optional. It's $750 extra. It doesn't include the heated rear seats. However, you have to spec that in as an additional $500 extra, but you get rear seat vents back there. When you get back here, you can see you have the same MB Tech stitching here on the door panels, that same aluminum or that red trim. 3-level heated seats, but you can see there's a button here for a cooled seat, but it's not offered on the GLC, which doesn't surprise me there. You have 2 map pockets over here, which is nice. And then if you want to fold down this armrest here, you get some storage, and you also get 2 cup holders, which is good. The seats on this car don't actually slide forward and back. Sadly, they also do not adjust for recline, so the seats themselves are just kind of fixed, or you can fold them down to expand the cargo capacity. So I really like what Mercedes has done for the inside of this GLC. They've kept it really nice over the years, and I can't believe that it's due for a replacement. I really like how they've put their latest infotainment system in this car. Now, in terms of the powertrain choices, just like the C-Class, the GLC offers a plethora of them. I'm driving the base engine, which is the one that most people buy. It got upgraded this year with more power, and the other models, the AMG 43, also got an upgrade this year as well. Now, even though this is the base engine in the GLC, Mercedes says you'll get to 60 in around 6.1 seconds, regardless of whether you pick the rear drive or the 4MATIC all-wheel drive model. This is enough power for most people. It keeps pace, of course, with the BMW X3 xDrive 30i and the Audi Q5 with its 2-liter turbocharged engine. Now, of course, being a 2-liter turbo, the engine itself is rather uninspiring sounding. Most vehicles in this segment don't have that pleasant of a noise. It's paired with a 9-speed automatic, which is a Mercedes-designed transmission. transmission will bang off some pretty crisp shifts. It's also a smooth partner. It's relatively responsive when you have it in the Sport Plus setting like I do now. I found when I had this car in comfort, the transmission is overly annoyingly trying to stay in its top gear to get the best gas mileage. So I find that the best way to drive this thing is in Sport or Sport Plus. It actually isn't too annoying to drive every day in Sport Plus, which is good. The ride quality in the GLC also has been improved over the years. When I first drove this car, I thought the ride quality was a little bit firm. This one here has the 19-inch wheels. You can also spec it up to a 20 or 21-inch wheel if you guys look at the AMG 43 or 63 models. That obviously will make the ride quality stiffer, but these 19s strike the perfect balance for me. They have a nice, controlled, comfortable ride quality. It's very quiet in here. My tester has, for an extra $150, which is an insult, the extra thick glass that for the windshield and for the side mirrors or the windows. It makes the interior one of the quietest in the segment. Very little road, very little wind noise, just a little bit of engine noise when you guys play with this 4-cylinder. But overall, it's such a pleasant driving car that offers plenty of torque. That's the beauty about these turbocharged engines, is they offer so much low-end torque. This one offers 273 that you don't really have to rev the crap out of the engine. There's plenty of mid-range from about 3,000 to about 5,000 RPM. It is so smooth as well. Mercedes has really been working to address that. And the visibility in here is also really easy. I mean, view out of the front is good. The car is nice and short, but it sits up higher, so you get that SUV seating height. My tester has the driver assistance package for another $2,000, whatever. So it has the full speed range adaptive cruise control. It also has auto lane changing, which is nice. Mercedes and Tesla are the only ones that offer that. And this thing will get up to highway speeds pretty quickly, so it has enough power for most people. I only found that on the highway there were times where I was trying to pass people, and that's where I wish I had the extra 130 horsepower from the GLC43, which got a power boost for the 2020 model year. But other than that, I find very little faults with this car. I mean, the seats are comfortable, it's very quiet, it's very roomy, it's full of tech, it's full of safety. The problem with the GLC is how expensive it is. It's also not a great value because, you know, this one here is practically fully loaded and it's still missing cooled seats. It's such an insult to me that it's missing cooled seats. I have to pay an extra $450 to get cooled seats when it should be included, especially at this price point. Mercedes needs to do a better job of just grouping things together into a premium package, which they offer for $500, but then they charge you extra for the wireless charging, the satellite radio, the 12-inch display here, a la carte, which makes this thing super expensive and also super annoying when you're actually trying to find the one you want on the dealer lot. Now, in terms of fuel economy, this one here is rated at 22 in the city, 28 on the highway, and I actually have been averaging around 24 mpg in my week's worth of testing, which is not bad. On a full tank of gas, this thing was showing a little over 400 miles of cruising range, which is fairly good. I mean, obviously you're going to be using less gas by going for the 4-cylinder version. There's also a 350 plug-in version, which is going on sale probably in the next month or so. That will offer an electric motor that's paired with this 4-cylinder turbo. Fuel economy information has not been announced yet on that plug-in, but it does offer 315 horsepower, so like an additional 60 plus horsepower over this model here. That, of course, will be a different review. So even though the latest Mercedes-Benz GLC300 may not be the flashiest, may not be the most luxurious, may not be the most sportiest to drive, it certainly does a lot of things well, and that's what makes this car so popular with a lot of luxury shoppers. It is just incredibly well balanced. The 300 version has just the right amount of power for most. If you guys spec it out with the AMG Sport package like this one, it actually stands out a little bit more and doesn't look quite so bland like some of the baser models. And like the C-Class, this is just about the right size for a lot of Americans. And of course, if you guys want more power, Mercedes offers the GLC43 and the GLC63. Now, what's interesting about the GLC is I believe its sales figures are going to start to go down because Mercedes has another model in their lineup called the GLB, which I actually think is slightly roomier on the inside, and I think it actually looks better, although the GLB is based off of a front drive architecture. This is based off of a rear drive architecture like the C-Class, in which its name is based off of. Now, of course, if if you guys are looking to buy a GLC, it's still an excellent choice, and it starts at $42,500 for the base rear drive version. Add $2,000 more if you guys want the 4MATIC all-wheel drive. Now, of course, Mercedes, like every other luxury brand, has a plethora of options. A lot of them are a la carte. This one here stickers for a little over $61,000, which is expensive. It's a good $10,000 more expensive than something like an Acura RDX or a Lexus NX, but some of you would probably argue that the Mercedes badge definitely means something. It has an interior that's still incredibly luxurious and full of the latest tech, especially this year when they added MBUX and that 10.25-inch display. And really, it's still an incredibly well-rounded vehicle, but I'm curious to see if this car will remain the best-selling model in the Mercedes lineup now that the GLB is finally here. And I personally think the GLB is slightly more useful because it has more interior space on the inside. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2020 Mercedes-Benz GLC300. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.